The Grand Tour is a British motoring television series, conceived by Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, James May, and Andy Willman, which launched on November 18, 2016, and is exclusively released on Amazon Prime Video. The program's format is similar to that of the BBC series Top Gear. Each episode is hosted by Clarkson, Hammond, and May, featuring a mixture of live audience segments and pre-recorded films, reviews of cars, discussions on motoring topics, races, special motoring challenges, and celebrity time-lapse, second series only. The program was conceived when Clarkson's contract was not renewed from Top Gear, as a result of a disciplinary investigation by the BBC of his behaviour during and behind the scenes of the later series of the program, with Hammond, May and Willman subsequently leaving the program in the wake of his dismissal. All four were later approached by Amazon Prime to create a brand new program. Their initial agreement was to produce 36 episodes over 3 years. Episodes are released weekly to Amazon Prime Video accounts, and repeats of the first series were made available on traditional broadcasters in late 2017. Until the beginning of the second series, studio segments were filmed using a traveling tent in various countries, before it was decided to set it in a permanent location in the Cotswolds. Studio segments will be retired for the fourth series, as well as weekly episodes, with the series instead set to release specials on staggered dates. As of December 2016, the show was made available to 195 more countries and various territories, and has attracted favorable viewing figures after The Holy Trinity became Amazon Video's most watched premiere episode. Overall, the show has received positive reviews from critics. Format: Series 1 to 3, 2016 to 2019. Through the first 3 series, the program operates on a similar format that Willman, the show's producer, Clarkson, Hammond, and May, the show's presenters, all used during their tenure on Top Gear, though with significant differences to avoid clashing with their former motoring program. These episodes mainly consist of a mix of pre-recorded television films and live audience segments. Pre-recorded films consist mainly of car reviews and motoring challenges, and episodes will either use a mix of one or both, with the latter either consisting of single or multi-parts. Challenges function in a similar format to those of Top Gear challenges, special races, building and testing out a unique vehicle based on a car, or buying cheap cars and determining which is the best, with challenges denoted to the presenters by Willman through text messages. Examples of these challenges include building their own eco-friendly car chassis atop a Land Rover, and racing through different forms of transportation. Like the specials of Top Gear, the Grand Tour also features unique specials focused on a singular type of vehicle or class that the hosts use to travel along a route in a foreign locale. Car reviews, which remain a prominent part of the program, are mainly done on a similar format to Top Gear, in that one or more cars are reviewed by a single or multiple presenters, put through various tests to check out aspects of the car, i.e. performance, with reviews filmed either around the United Kingdom or abroad, or took place upon a specially designed racetrack that was created for the Grand Tour, much like the Top Gear test track. Time-lapse of the reviewed car remain a part of the program, though are driven by a specially trained driver who functions in a similar manner to Top Gear's The Stig. In the first series, the cars were driven by former NASCAR driver Mike Skinner, who was contracted to operate under the name The American and portray a stereotypical redneck accent and viewpoints, and making tangential speech and calling several things communist. After the first series, Skinner was dropped due to poor reception from viewers on his appearance on the program, leading him to be replaced by British racing driver Abby Eaton for the second series. Studio segments are mostly filmed within a large studio tent that can house an audience of around 300, with the presenters sat around a trestle table and the audience seated in front of them. Initially, the first series involved these segments being filmed within a traveling tent that was set up in various countries, with audiences acquired for the locale used for filming of the studio segments, as part of an emphasis that the program was on a grand tour around the world. But in the wake of Hammond's crash in Switzerland and Clarkson's pneumonia prior to the second series, the use of a traveling tent was dropped and a more fixed location was established, with studio segments for the second series onwards being filmed on the outskirts of Chipping Norton. These live audience segments act as breaks between pre-recorded films and are mostly based on a similar format the presenters used on Top Gear, but with unique versions created for the Grand Tour. A continuously used segment based on a similar one for Top Gear, entitled Conversation Street, focuses on the presenters discussing car news. This segment is often introduced by a video introduction of silhouettes of the presenters discussing something, accompanied by a jazz piece called Heavy Berry by Scott Robinson, with a running gag on the program being that this introduction features something different and comedic happening in each episode since it first premiered. Celebrities were not initially part of the program to begin with due to concerns over legal issues from the BBC towards their involvement possibly competing to the celebrity format used in Top Gear. To reflect this opinion, the program created a humorous celebrity segment for the first series entitled Celebrity Brain Crash, which involved lookalikes of popular celebrities getting humorously killed in an accident while making their way to the tent, reflecting this matter. This segment was later dropped in response to complaints made by viewers, leading to the decision that celebrities would be a part of the program. As a result, a new segment was created for this purpose, entitled Celebrity Face-Off. For each episode, two celebrities with a similar background or connection and often from different countries, would be interviewed before driving around a brand new track for this series, in a Jaguar F-Type R dynamic coupe, to see who could post the fastest lap time. The use of celebrities was later dropped prior to filming of the third series, to dedicate more time to films. The Grand Tour racetracks. When the program was first conceived and created, the production team opted for the creation of a dedicated test track for the purpose of being used for reviews of testing of vehicles by presenters, alongside the establishment of lap times by cars that are reviewed. The track was eventually sited at the former RAF Rawdon Air Base, with its layout consisting of two loops, one large and one small, connected by a single stretch of tarmac between them and christened as the Eboladrome, due to the design of the track resembling the structure of the Ebola virus. The track is designed to trip cars up and includes sections devised under a humorous arrangement, including Isn't Straight, Your Name Here, Old Lady's House, Substation and Field of Sheep. Prior to the airing of the first episode, the lap board for lap times was pre-populated by those made from a selection of 10 cars, all of which weren't filmed. The first filmed time lap to be conducted on the track was that of a 2016 BMW M2 and the last filmed time lap being that of a 1987 Ford Sierra RS Cosworth. For the second series, the production team decided to create a second track for the specific purpose of being used in the newly created celebrity segment Celebrity Face-Off. They eventually decided to situate the new track at Instone Airfield, close to the fixed studio tent location, which the production team had previously tried to use for Top Gear. The track was mostly designed as an oval, with half of it involving a gravel track. The second track was brought back for one episode in Series 3 when the team conducted time trials in 3 new hot hatchbacks, even with the discontinuation of the celebrity segment prior to the third series. Series 4. On December 13, 2018, Amazon announced the Grand Tour has been renewed for a fourth series. With this, Amazon and the team have retired the current studio and audience format, including talk segments like Conversation Street, track and lap time content on the Eboladrome and other smaller features, in favor of films dedicated to road trips and adventure specials. In July 2019, executive producer Andy Willman announced that he and the production crew had extended their contracts with Amazon for 2 additional years, effectively confirming the show had been renewed for at least a 5th series. Production history. Clarkson, Hammond and May had been presenters on BBC's Top Gear, both as part of the rotating hosts of the original, and permanent hosts for the 2002 rebooted series up through 2015. Under them, the show had an estimated worldwide audience of 350 million, and listed by Guinness World Records as the highest viewed factual television program. Due to several incidents involving Clarkson, the BBC chose not to renew Clarkson's contract with the show in March 2015. Both May and Hammond affirmed they would not return to Top Gear without Clarkson, even though the BBC offered them lucrative salaries to remain on for additional series. Along with their departure, their longtime producer and Clarkson's classmate Andy Willman also opted to leave at this time. BBC retooled the show for 2016, bringing in new hosts Chris Evans and Matt LeBlanc. Shortly after his separation from the BBC, Clarkson stated his intent to start a new car show, saying, "I have lost my baby but I shall create another. I don't know who the other parent will be or what the baby will be like." Rumors that Clarkson, Hammond, and May were developing a new show through discreet meetings with various networks emerged starting in April 2015. These rumors pointed to a potential American broadcaster, as the terms of Clarkson's non-compete clause with the BBC stipulated he could not make a rival car show with a BBC competitor, such as ITV. Among those that had been approached included Netflix, who felt Clarkson's team wanted too much money for what they were worth, and BT Sport, believing the show would be a better fit on a network with a more global reach. In July 2015, Clarkson announced he had signed a deal with Amazon to develop a new car show that followed a similar format as Top Gear, with both Hammond and May joining him as co-hosts, and Willman producing. Among other personnel from Top Gear going to the new show included director Phil Churchward, the husband of Fifth Gear's Vicky Butler Henderson, The deal included 36 episodes across 3 series which would be available to Amazon Prime members starting in 2016. Willman stated that Amazon promised them to have the freedom they wanted to make the show how they wanted along with the necessary budget. Additionally, by using a subscription-based service over an advert-based network, they would not be beholden to commercial pressure for their advertisers. Jeff Bezos, CEO of Amazon, said he was very excited about bringing this program to Amazon, and that producing the show would be very, very, very expensive, but added, "Clarkson, Hammond and May are worth a lot and they know it." According to insider information reported by the Daily Mirror, Amazon paid £160 million for all 3 series. Willman denied the show cost this much, but did admit the show was costly, partially due to Amazon's intent to have it filmed in 4K resolutions. The production of this show would be based in the United Kingdom, and done by W. Chump & Sons, a company set up by Willman, Clarkson, Hammond, and May. The show's name, The Grand Tour, was revealed in May 2016. Clarkson said the name brought to mind the tradition of grand tours, and reflected how the show would travel to several different countries to film. There was speculation that the show could be called Gear Knobs after a trademark application was made for that name by an associated company, but Clarkson stated in October 2015 that this would not be the title. He explained in April 2016 that the word gear could not be used for legal reasons. Initially, the show's format was to present individual television films, using location shooting without studio segments. They later came up with the idea of using a traveling tent to provide a mobile studio, to go along with the Grand Tour name. They would be able to use local audience members, and would give the hosts the opportunity to explore the local culture around cars. According to Willman, the idea to film audience segments in a tent came from Clarkson, who had seen an episode of True Detective that took place at a Baptist revival ceremony. On December 13, 2018, while shooting the final episode for Series 3, it was announced that the show had been renewed for a 4th series. However, they would ditch the tent and release big-budget car specials, on staggered dates rather than regular episodes. Alongside this, Clarkson, Hammond and May were all going to start producing individual shows for Amazon based on their own interests. The first such announced show is Our Man in Japan, featuring May as he tours across Japan to immerse himself in its culture. Clarkson's show I Bought the Farm was announced in May 2019, which has been described as Clarkson's take on BBC's Country File, featuring Clarkson demonstrating the harmful effects of human behavior on agriculture, with filming to principally take place on Clarkson's own 400 hectares, 990 acres, farm near Chipping Norton. Legal issues. Willman said that lawyers for Amazon were very mindful of any perceived similarities in segments to Top Gear, requiring changes to the format and regular segments. Named elements from Top Gear like the star in a reasonably priced car, the cool wall, and the Stig could not be used at all, but they also had to clear other legal concerns. For example, the lawyers said they could test cars on a test track, but they could not post the times using handwritten signs as they had done on Top Gear. Instead, they used a digital leaderboard. Willman said that some of the lawyers' concerns got funnier and funnier, such as whether May could say cock, or whether during one of their exotic road trips, if they could stop and admire the scenery by saying it's beautiful as they frequently did on Top Gear. Many outlets falsely reported that the BBC had explicitly told the crew they could not have celebrities come on the show and race around a track. This was later confirmed to be false, with the crew admitting that the real reason for the nature of the segment was last-minute panic. Celebrity Brain Crash was replaced in Series 2 by Celebrity Face-Off, where 2 celebrities compete to be fastest around a track, avoiding the legal complications with the BBC. An episode was censored by Amazon Prime Video in India because it included footage that could have been construed as offensive by the Indian audience. The footage showed a windscreen that was made of a cow's body organs, and removal of the footage resulted in a significant reduction in the length of an episode. Filming. During the first series, the studio segments were filmed in various locations around the world. Studio recording for the first series began in Johannesburg, South Africa on July 17, 2016. Recording in the United States took place on September 25, 2016 in Southern California, with further recording taking place in Nashville on November 21, 2016. Studio recording in the United Kingdom took place in Whitby on October 13, 2016, with further recordings taking place at Loch Ness in December 2016. Further studio recording took place in Rotterdam on October 22, 2016 and Lapland on November 3, 2016. Stuttgart, Ludwigsburg, was also a filming location. The final studio filming took place in Dubai in December 2016. United Broadcast Facilities, UBF, in the Netherlands had won the contract for the outside broadcasting tent segments. 14 microphones were used for recording the audience reaction laugh track within the tent. The mobile studio audio setup used Lawo mixing desks connected via MADI for live sound mixing, recording and talkback intercoms. For the second series, following Clarkson's pneumonia and Hammond's car crash, the producers decided that there would no longer be a traveling tent. Instead, the tent would be in one location near Clarkson's home in the Cotswolds, as this would be more convenient for the crew to operate. It also would be useful for new features such as Celebrity Face-Off. In September 2017, West Oxfordshire District Council gave planning permission for 3 months of filming from a fixed tent location on the Great Two Estate, near Chipping Norton. 200 parking spaces already used for hosting the Cornbury Music Festival on the same site would be used to accommodate 350 guests per week, plus 80 members of staff. The time window allowed for the Series 2 filming was between October and December 2017. For the third series, the tent was allowed to remain at the Great Two Estate, with filming taking place between October and December 2018. Filming for the fourth series began in June 2019. Clarkson made the announcement on Instagram. By mid-June, filming had taken place in Cambodia. Later that month, Clarkson, Hammond, and May were spotted filming in Vietnam. Promotion. Following the public naming of the show, Amazon offered new customers a £20 discount for their first year on Amazon Prime during May 16, 2016. A trailer announcing the release date of the show as November 18, 2016 was posted on the show's YouTube channel on September 15, 2016. A second, full-length trailer, was released on October 6, 2016. Trailers for Series 1 have used the music Come With Me Now by Congas, while Series 2 trailers have used Live and Let Die by Wings. As part of their marketing campaign, Amazon placed crashed Toyota Prius cars at Hackescher Markt in Berlin, in front of London King's Cross railway station, and on the Hollywood Walk of Fame outside the Dolby Theatre in Los Angeles. Sponsorship. In mid-2016, DHL began sponsoring the transport costs of the tent and mobile studio. In June 2016, in connection with the sponsorship deal, the presenters had uploaded videos of themselves attempting to assemble DHL-branded shipping boxes. The first episode stated that promotional consideration had been given by the Breitling Jet team, DHL and Samsung. 8 of the Breitling Jet aircraft took part in the opening sequence flyovers. For Episode 2, the list included 5.11 Tactical. A DHL Boeing 757 was featured in the opening sequence of Episode 5. The tent was located in Rotterdam, and the DHL logo is featured on part of the crash barrier at the Ebolodrome. Reception. As of November 2016, the show has received positive reviews from critics, with The Guardian saying Jeremy Clarkson and co leave the BBC in their dust. Dubious, discuss. Daily Express TV reporter, Neil Adebnot commented that the first episode resembled a Hollywood blockbuster and added that, the Grand Tour is, basically Top Gear on steroids. However, BBC Arts editor, Will Gompertz said of the opening that there is no irony. It feels uncomfortably hubristic, but once the presenters were in the tent, normal service has been resumed, and that it seemed to me that Grand Tour is a TV show that wants to be, and quite possibly should be, a movie. The Independent described the Grand Tour as the best of Top Gear but with a greater budget. The Wrap reported an estimate by Symphony Advanced Media that the opening weekend viewer count for the Grand Tour was 3 times the size of the opening weekend of The Man in the High Castle. Episode 2 was somewhat less favorably received by fans and critics. The Telegraph wrote about the Jordan segment, a tedious action movie segment, suggested that they were in danger of losing the run of themselves slightly and that Amazon's hands-off policy towards the production had potential downsides. Radio Times said that many of the viewers were disgruntled to say the least, branding the show as dull and not funny. Hammond was criticized by Stonewall, Peter Tatchell, and Ali Alexander, among others, for a comment he made in Episode 6 where he implied that men who eat ice cream are homosexual. It was later revealed that the comment was an in-joke for the Finnish audience as a reference to a controversial TV commercial that aired in Finland. The Grand Tour received a nomination in the original OTT streamed category at the 2017 Television and Radio Industries Club Awards. Kevin Yeoman of Screen Rant gave the show a positive review, stating fans can rest assured Top Gear hasn't gone anywhere, it's just hiding out at Amazon under a different name. Sonia Saraya of Variety was also positive of the show, stating when it comes to the cars, the Grand Tour delivers gearhead porn and spades. Clarkson, Hammond, and May's love for machinery is still present, pure, and appealing, even with the shift in networks and formats. Conversely, in April 2017, Brad Anderson of Car Scoop stated that he prefers Top Gear to the Grand Tour. According to Anderson, Top Gear had become even better, whereas the Grand Tour seemed more scripted, less natural and at stages, forced. Attention is often skewed away from the cars as the presenters, namely Clarkson, seem to chase controversy and headlines. Anderson continues that in-studio segments became repetitive quickly, particularly Celebrity Brain Crash, also noting that all three hosts seem to spend far too much time needling each other, and test driver Mike Skinner offers no worthwhile commentary. On the review aggregation website Rotten Tomatoes, the first series of the Grand Tour has a fresh rating of 86%, based on 7 reviews, with an average rating of 8.010. Digital Spy was positive of Series 2, Episode 1, calling it an understated premiere for a show that feels like it's finding its feet. The Times was also positive, giving the show 4 out of 5 stars, stating some parts of the show are flat but mostly it works. The production values remain high and it has clearly been hit with a juggernaut of money. The Daily Telegraph, while not as positive, still approved of the episode, stating the writing is still rather ropey. Clarkson's suggestion of a new nickname for May, Dingleberry Handpump, failed to raise a titter even among the superfans gathered for the London premiere, but also said that for each wobble, there are just as many moments when the Grand Tour manages the clever trick Top Gear could pull off at its best, raising a chuckle while sneaking in a bit of serious journalism at the same time. And ultimately gave the episode 3 out of 5 stars. Jeremy Clarkson himself believed that they had hit the ground running with Series 2 of the Grand Tour. Radio Times has criticized the gender balance of guests on the Celebrity Face-Off segment. There was only one woman guest, in the episode O Canada, Paris Hilton. There was criticism of the program from January 2019 by former Pop Idol contestant singer Will Young, for what he perceived as homophobic remarks. Broadcast. Australian free-to-air network 7 Network started broadcasting the first series of the Grand Tour in mid-October 2017. Series 2 and 3 has not been broadcast. French channel RMC Découverte started broadcasting the first series with the Namibian special episodes on November 29, 2017, and L'Équipe TV channel broadcast episodes 1 and 13 on January 15, 2018. At the start of 2018, high-speed Eurostar train services between Paris or Brussels and London began to feature the Grand Tour as part of the available on-board entertainment package. Video game. Main article, The Grand Tour Game. On January 15, 2019, Amazon Game Studios released a companion video game for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, to coincide with the third series of the program, entitled The Grand Tour Game. Designed as an episodic, casual racing game, players take on a series of challenges based upon those from the series and using the same cars involved. For each new episode of the series, an episode of the game is simultaneously released with approximately 50 new challenges for the player to undertake. The game includes single-player mode alongside local split-screen multiplayer for several of the challenges, with footage from the program included in each episode's release. The presenters Clarkson, May, and Hammond provided voiceovers for the game. Since the game's release, the Grand Tour game has been met with mixed reviews from critics and positive reviews from fans of the show.